Hey, it's Joseph here. I have unboxed this laptop in my previous video, so if you haven't seen that video already, please make sure you do so. And as I have stated in my last video, this unit was provided to me to review, but I am not sponsored. Therefore, the following content is my honest review based on my experience. With that out of the way, let's get to what you guys are here for. Having to spend a few days with this laptop, it is quite clear that this laptop is aimed for the professionals who's looking to do the tasks on the go. As you can see, the overall design is kept minimalistic, maintaining sort of the professional look. Either you're working in the coffee shop or the client meeting, this is not going to be the eyesore that just stays in the middle of the room flashing RGB lights everywhere. I really have been favoring MSI's recent design choices in keeping things clean and simple. On the outside, it is pretty much identical to its cousin Creator 17, and the overall color is silver/gray color, as you can see, and it has chamfered corners on the top of the laptop, and each four corners have been rounded. Quite simple. And looking at the side of the laptop, it is quite apparent that this laptop does not really shy off its port selection. Starting from the left side of the laptop, you can see the barrel plug for the power and RJ45, the Ethernet port, and then USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 port, and then micro SD card reader. Whilst I think some people may want a full-size SD card reader to access their card data easily, I prefer to have a micro SD card reader as I can use it for storage expansion. I can just keep the card in here and pretty much forget about it. And moving on to the next, the mic and headphone jacks are available separately. And this is actually not quite typical. Many professional headsets and sound gears have separated cords, so you kind of need this one. For example, my Logitech headset. And as you can see, the Logitech headset has separated cord for me to connect, so I can just directly connect this onto its side. So that is pretty much what you are expected to do. And going around the corner, there is no ports available on the front or the back either, except there is a little LED light indicator for charging. And this is useful as I often just keep the laptop being charged on my desk with the screen closed. And this way I can still tell whether the device is being charged or not. And moving on to the other side of the laptop, there is a USB-C 3.2 Gen 1 starting from the left. And then two USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 are following. Then we have one Thunderbolt 3 USB-C. And this is quite an important bit, but I'll certainly cover after I talk about the other ports first. And as you can see, there is a full-size HDMI port, then the Kensington port on the corner to lock your laptop. So let's get back to the Thunderbolt 3 port. As you may know already, Thunderbolt 3 has a huge bandwidth, and you can actually support two 4K screens at 60 Hz. And whilst doing that, you can also charge your laptop. So if you have a hub like this, then you can keep your laptop being charged and connect all of those different peripherals connected at the same time. And frankly, being able to charge your laptop with USB-C and power delivery is not really a new thing. A lot of laptops nowadays kind of do that. Okay, so it is quite common, but I wanted to mention because this is the very first time I've seen a laptop at this caliber to be charged with USB-C. For example, when I reviewed P65 or WS65, those things did not charge with USB-C power delivery no matter of the wattage. But for this laptop, I can just take a USB cable like this and then make sure I connect to the Thunderbolt port, and then immediately it's gonna start charging. Let's have the camera focus. And the other end is something as small as this. This is 60 watt charger that is available from Blitzforce, and it is absolutely tiny. It is just a tad bit bigger than the iPad chargers that I have on hand. Let me show you. So this is the old iPad charger. It is an OEM version, and this is 12 watt. So this is how big it is, and compared to this one, it is not much bigger at all, but this one pushes 65 watt of power delivery. And I actually have confirmed with MSI too. In order to charge this laptop via USB-C port, you need to have minimum of 65 watt for this laptop to charge. And the maximum wattage that it can take is 100 watt from USB-C port. And not only this allows you to connect laptop much easier, it means that your travel is going to be a lot lighter. This is the original charger. I mean, not to mention the charging brick, the cables, there's quite a lot of it, right? And there's never really a way to cleanly carry this because every time you connect, you gotta undo the zips and then it kind of bundles up into all sorts of mess. But you can replace all of this with this and this. I mean, if you're traveling around, which one would you rather pick? It's kind of obvious, isn't it? Well, whilst looking at the overall bulk, it's kind of obvious that this is better, but it is not better in all aspects. Actually, this one pushes more than 200 watts. Let me confirm that. So this charger actually pushes out 230 watts, whilst this one only pushes 65 watt. So if you're actually pushing the laptop really hard, where you're utilizing a lot of CPU and GPU and whatever other things such as charging other devices through your laptop, you can be drawing a lot of wattage, and you will need this charger to push this laptop. And otherwise, you'll notice that you're slowly draining from the battery of the laptop, and eventually you're gonna run out and just run flat. So my recommendation is to carry this one around as it is light and compact, and then keep this one on your desk so you can just charge it whenever you are doing intensive tasks on your desk. And to properly test out this laptop, I have been spending a lot of time typing and doing other tasks on this laptop to see if it is adequate for the architectural tasks, my daily workflows. By the way, the keys are quite comfortable and I can accurately type and still feel good about it. I know some people really favor the number pads included on a laptop, so you will definitely enjoy this if you're one of those people. And whenever I am typing, occasionally I'll miss my right shift as my pinky just hits the up arrow key instead of the shift that is available right under the enter key. And actually, I'm not sure why, but the delete key seems to be in a weird position. My natural habit is to hit right above the backspace, but there is a pause and break key instead. I guess I'm really nitpicking at this point though. Those things you can kind of get used to as you use a laptop and get used to it. One thing that I couldn't get used to is actually the touchpad, or should I say the touchpad when I'm using the keyboard. As I have said on my last review, the touchpad is quite wide and it occupies in the middle of the laptop, and that actually causes my right palm to rest directly in the middle of the touchpad. And I have found that palm rejection for the touchpad is actually improved from the previous generations of MSI laptops, so it is not moving the cursor of the mouse. However, whenever I rest my palm, it will depress the key and then cause a click on the screen. So whenever I am typing, I kind of learn to lift off my right palm a little bit so that at least it is not pressing on it. It is just kind of gently resting on top of the touchpad, and I can just kind of type away. Oh, and the fingerprint sensor is available on the top left corner of the touchpad. And I have realized the top grills are for vents, not really the speaker. And the speakers are actually bottom firing from the bottom of the laptop. And speaking of the speakers, let's do the test that you guys always ask for. Okay, that's enough. If you kind of care about the sound quality, I would certainly recommend getting a extra headphones. And from there, let's move up to the screen. And this is where the laptop really shines. And I can shine a lot of light if I want to. But let me just reduce it right back down where I am actually comfortable with. And I actually had a lot of expectation for the screen of this laptop as it has mini LED, which is the latest technology that evenly lights the screen and allow less light bleed and accurate colors along with the high brightness that you have just seen. And it is not only the 4K 60 Hz screen, it is incredibly color accurate of 100% of DCI-P3 with delta E less than 2. And as it is stated over here, it can certainly do HDR 1000. As this is a 17-inch 4K screen, I can really appreciate the sharp text and the lines that this laptop is able to show. Unfortunately, the mini LED SKU is not available in the market, but it will be available in the future. Powering this high resolution large screen is actually NVIDIA Quadro RTX 5000 Max-Q. That is a long name, isn't it? And this graphics card will handle all the complex modeling and rendering tasks that you throw at it, and even the VR as well. Whenever you are doing graphic intensive tasks, the fans will kick off, but you gotta get your tasks done, right? Looking at the other part of the spec, CPU is Intel i9-10980HK CPU with a base clock of 3.1, and it has whopping 8 cores of CPU with 16 threads. You can see all of those cores that are working together. Although most of the architectural softwares are single core dependent, if you can find the tasks that are multi-thread based, then you can certainly utilize all of these cores that are available for you. Since we are going over the specs, let's cover the other bits as well. The storage is 1 terabyte and the RAM is hefty 32 gigabytes, which is quite required for large complex models as it is kind of heavy on the memory. So 32 gigabytes will definitely get you something that you need. As the laptop is large, it also has large battery too, so you can kind of expect the battery to last pretty long time as well. It is definitely not all day type of battery life, but I was able to get 4 hours on very minimalistic type of tasks and about an hour or two depending on how much the graphic intensive tasks that I was doing, but that will last you at least like a meeting or so. And as I have mentioned, if you just carry this around in addition to the laptop, then you'll be able to last pretty long time basically. And I do want to mention that this laptop is ISV certified, as to all other MSI workstations. The software used by AEC professionals, architecture, engineering, and construction are validated to run steadily with the optimal performance. So let's go ahead and test some of them. So let's go ahead and use SketchUp file. The one that I'm going to use is about 300 megabytes. And this is what it looks like. As you can see, it is quite buttery smooth. I have showcased this specific model in WS65 review as well. So let's zoom out to see what that looks like from the outside. And then I can also visit elsewhere like this house over here. And that is zooming just fine. Orbiting just fine. And if I park, as you can see, the materials comes back. And I can turn around and then go over there. And over here is a little office setup. And as you can see, I can go in there as well and look around, and everything behaves quite well. And modeling in SketchUp with this laptop would be a breeze, since SketchUp is not necessarily the hardest software to run. You can expect similar or better performance with AutoCAD because that's even easier application to run. But when it comes to Revit, it can be difficult sometimes. So let's go ahead and test one as well. And this is an example file that Enscape provides. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of sharpness, as this is a high resolution settings here. I can go in here and change to wireframe to appreciate all individual lines that's available there. And as you can see, it runs quite smooth. Let me also throw in the section box to really test this out, and then I can just shrink the section box to see how it performs. Everything seems to be quite smooth there. Let me go ahead and change to hidden line. Obviously this is easier to run. Let's change to fine. I don't think it's going to change the detail level all that much, but that is available. Back to shaded again. I can just shrink this side. There you go. And orbits just fine as well. I can go to the consistent colors. I can go to realistic, and the realistic colors are going to eat up a bit more computational resource that's available, but that is working just fine as well. I can orbit and zoom in and out easily as well. Let me shrink the section box once further. Okay, that is working just fine. You can see sort of the grass mapping there that is available. So it is quite smooth. Let me just snap back to shaded mode. That's my preference whenever I'm working with a model. And then let's go ahead and start the Enscape, since it is the Enscape model actually. So that is going to start and export all the assets and show you the render object. And by the way, I actually was trying to do this and just notice sort of the sluggishness of the laptop, and it turns out if I charge via power delivery port with the Thunderbolt, and actually the laptop doesn't really run on its full potential. Somehow it is sort of capped and doesn't really push as much. The fan doesn't go as much. I guess that's sort of how it conserves the battery. So instead of draining from the battery, it just utilizes the little power that's coming from the power delivery. So I don't necessarily recommend using power delivery for graphic intensive tasks like this. You probably want to plug your barrel plug on the side. I had to sort of go through the troubleshooting process to make sure how it is performing, but here is my resolution. Plug in your big fat charger and you'll be fine. Anyways, back to Enscape. So let me just go ahead and maximize this screen, and as you can see, it is quite smooth. Let me just move slow so you guys could appreciate the frame rate that this is rendering at. And notice how the trees are moving slightly. That was the updated feature of Enscape. Let me use my 3D mouse to move in closer. I can go faster. Okay, mind you, this is actually rendering in 4K and all the resolution is there, although what you are probably seeing on YouTube is 1080p. But this screen is set at 4K and everything is buttery smooth. So you can do live presentation this way, talk about second floor, the lower floor, the beautiful pool, and the view that is out there. So all of that is possible, and do live presentation of your design and the model. This is quite incredible performance. And by the way, this Revit file is about 300 megs, so there's a lot of assets in here, but as you can see, the laptop handles just fine. I will also run the benchmarking with the Enscape video render process to compare the render time with my desktop and the previous WS65 that I have reviewed, and the results are like this. And whilst we are on Enscape, let's just put this to the corner. And then let's connect my VR headset. The cable that I'm gonna use this time is USB 2.0 cable that Oculus Quest ships with. And previously you weren't allowed to use USB 2.0 cable, but now the cap has been lifted. You can use any USB 2.0 cables with your Oculus. Now this is USB-C on the both sides, so you do require a USB-C port on your laptop, and we know we have that. So let me go ahead and connect that, and then the other end to the headset. So you can see my screen here. I have the controller here. I can use the controller knobs to turn around if I need to, and it's quite disorienting if you do this too much, but I can push myself back or forward. All the motions very smooth. I can actually go ahead and stand in the middle of the water and then take a little dive. That does feel weird. Alright, so I am out of the water. As you can see, everything works exactly how it should. Let me go ahead and disable the VR mode so the fans are not going off too much. And then let me go ahead and load Lumion as well. And if you haven't done this prior, it's gonna run its benchmark, but I just wanted to show you what the results are like. So the graphics card is good, graphics memory is maximum, CPU is very good, and system memory is good as well. So I just wanted to show you the benchmark results, and then I can use an example. Let's use the same one that I have used for WS65. As you can see, the view is quite smooth. Let's catch up to those birds. And then look around. Everything is running quite smooth. Let me move through these and then just see how smooth this can be. So I expect the navigation wouldn't be a problem at all. Okay, so navigation is very smooth. You can do things as you have expected. Let me go to the movie mode and then preview one of these videos. So I'll go ahead and render this movie and see how long it takes compared to my desktop, because this is going to be exactly the same settings and the results are like this. And I'll let the numbers speak for itself. And as you can see, the temps are now starting to lower down. The CPU temps are lowering down. And let's look at the GPU. It is pretty cool already. Okay, and the fan is quieting down as well. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's discuss about the price of this laptop. I have to say this laptop is definitely not cheap. The cheapest SKU available for this laptop starts from $2,500 US, and the highest grade could be $1,000 or even more than that. The mini LED version is not available on the market, but I assume it is not going to be cheap either. But all of those performance is packaged into the 17-inch format of the laptop, thin and light, basically the desktop replacement material. So if you're looking for a desktop replacement, this laptop is definitely worth considering. And you can also carry it in your backpack unlike your desktops. And if you have enjoyed this content, please like this video and subscribe to my channel to continue watching these type of videos. And thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you next time. Bye.